What's up, everybody? It's Nori here. So, for today's reaction, we're reacting to a YouTuber, basically, just Jujutsu Kaisen. Alright. Let's react.
Would you like to be Gojo Satoru? Today we answer that question, but first, let's get some coffee. Now the reason why I'm going and getting my own coffee is because Gojo is a very busy person, so I'm assuming that during his day he goes and gets coffee multiple times throughout the day.
I popped into my local bakery who have amazing coffee and a bunch of sweets because Gojo Sensei has a sweet tooth.
I got my coffee from my local bakery and they have this gooey butter lemon cookie, and because it's Gojo, I'm going to indulge today because he has a sweet tooth. So thanks for breakfast, man. Oh my god, that's fantastic.
With coffee acquired, I need to talk to you about Gojo.
Now for Gojo to look and perform the way he does, we need to know his stats. And for that, he is 6'3", around 185 to 187 pounds. This means he needs around 2,800 to 2,850 calories per day, trying to hit a protein goal because he's very, very active of 187 grams per day. Since he's also very active, we need a ton of carbohydrates. So we're going to be hitting around 300 grams of carbohydrates today and around 90 grams worth of fat. So that means breakfast is going to be very fun. Now crepes are super simple to put together too. Granted, like we just talked about, I don't think Gojo is making these on his own because he's so busy, but we're going to be making these just as we can. Into a small bowl, I'm doing 1 egg with a half a cup of flour, a pinch of sugar, going in with about 2 tablespoons worth of melted butter, don't leave out the sugar, and then around 2 to 3 ounces of cream, along with 2 to 3 ounces of water.
After you have everything in your bowl, give it a whisk and make sure it is looser than pancake batter. Add in a touch more water if you need to, give it a quick whisk, and we're going to set this to the side. Now the fillings for the first crepe are going to be strawberry and pineapple. You can use whatever fruit you want. I'm using these two. The second crepe is going to be savory. We'll get to that in just a second.
Only 2 more things to do for all of our crepes. There's a little bit of whipped cream, heavy whipping cream, and like a tablespoon worth of confectioners or powdered sugar.
We're going to whip this up until we get kind of a medium stiff heat.
Bam, the whipped cream. Please don't buy whipped cream. I think I do buy whipped cream. Now I did mention we're making 2 different styles of crepes. The second one is going to be a scrambled egg and cheese crepe. See how this comes in handy? Now this is definitely not enough protein. You have 2 choices. Tofu or egg whites, and I'm going with egg whites here. I'm adding an additional 5 egg whites. Now we have our eggs ready.
With the eggs ready, it's time to make your crepes, but first we need a sip of this coffee.
I'm still really bad at making crepes, so please forgive me.
I'm aiming to get 2 full-size crepes out of all of this batter.
But it looks like we're going to get a little bit more than that.
Maybe we're going to get 3 crepes out of this batter. You want to make sure that you constantly swirl your pan around to get some even coating. And once it's cooked for about 2 minutes on one side, you got to flip it.
Looks like it might tear, but I'm going to give it a shot. Look!
Damn! There we go.
Yes! Woo! That was good. We got to smash like for that one. That was good. Come on.
After you smash like and cooked it on the other side for about 2 minutes, place this onto a plate, finish cooking your other crepes, and we're good to go.
Now I have all 3 of my crepes ready. Again, I only wanted 2, so this one that kind of messed up, it's just a bonus. This is just a bonus. Now we're going to be making scrambled eggs. Super easy.
In a very large saute pan, add in a nice dab of butter or 2, and then dump in all of your eggs. This is the 2 eggs and the 5 egg whites.
Make sure you don't piss off Chef Gordon. Make sure you stir this constantly. Get those eggs nice and scrambled.
For scrambled eggs, you want to continue stirring this just until they become soft set. You can see this happening in real time sped up, and make sure you do not overcook this. Once they start to set, turn off the heat, and your eggs are ready to go.
Actually need to take them out of here or they overcook. This is where we get to have a little bit of fun with our filling.
I really need to get a crepe maker so I can get the fancy cone crepes going, but this is going to have to do. Now you can do absolutely anything you want in the inside of these crepes, but we are going to be doing some whipped cream on the inside, followed by stacking it with your pineapple and your strawberries.
A little more whip right on top. Fold your crepe over like a little pocket of joy. Just be very gentle and then slip right onto the plate. Give it a little tuck. Crepe number 1. Done.
Now the second crepe is our egg and cheese crepe, and it's super easy to put together. When you place your eggs in the middle of the crepe, make sure you do scoop it out of the bowl because water can cool down below. You don't want all of that extra liquid onto your crepe. Once you have your 7 eggs loaded onto your crepe, this is when we're going to sprinkle just a bit of salt on top of it.
I think I have a hard time here. Just turn off my cereal. Alright, there we go. Alright,
Hit this with a good amount of shaved Parmesan cheese. Give this the nice tuck and roll like we did before. Place it on your plate and add some more Parmesan cheese on top. On that fruit crepe, make sure you hit it with some more whipped cream. Place a piece of strawberry and pineapple right on top so you know which is which. And there you go. Breakfast is ready.
Now I get to finally eat all of this. Again, Gojo would have probably just gotten it at a creperie. So this meal for Gojo for breakfast comes out to 57 grams of carbs, 22 grams of fat, and about 53 grams of protein. This is a total of around 670 calories just for breakfast. Not also including the cookie that we ate, so maybe like 800 calories for breakfast. This is a lot of breakfast for me. The egg is so good. There's something so sinfully delicious about eggs and cheese. It's so good. What about this fruit one though? This is gonna be nice too. Oh my god. I think I like the fruit one more.
Like everyone else who works on YouTube, I had to eat and work at the same time. Now, this was a ton of food and it took me about 20 minutes to get through it. I made sure I chugged a bunch of water because I'm going to be eating so much food today that I'm going to be incredibly thirsty. After all that food and that meeting, I needed to get outside and help this digest.
I definitely had to leave the house for a minute because the food was just sitting in my stomach and I needed to go out for a walk just to help it digest because it's so much food. And we still have to get ready for lunch. I mean, I had to run downstairs to get rice going while I was in the meeting, just so that way it is ready for when we need it.
After the walk, I hit around 4,700 steps, but I wanted to make sure that I hit 10,000 steps before lunchtime. This is going to help with digestion, and since I was on a call, I could just jog in place until I hit that 10,000 steps, trying to be as productive as possible during all of this.
During my second meeting of the day, I was able to get in all of my steps because Gojo is very slender, so he probably gets in quite a bit of cardio, especially since most of his cardio comes from fighting curses. I feel like I've digested most of breakfast right now, so we're going to be having the pre-workout meal. This is actually going to be very substantial. We are going to be making tamagoyaki.
I know, I'm having eggs again, but tamagoyaki is had on the streets of Tokyo, and I did love it out there. This is 4 eggs and a pinch of sugar whisked really, really well.
Biggest reason why, again, I'm reaching out for tamagoyaki is because this is also something that you can find in a konbini or a convenience store out in Tokyo.
To see if your pan is hot enough, just take a bit of your egg and streak it across the middle of your pan. If it cooks almost immediately, you know that your pan is hot enough and you can start making all of your egg. This egg cooks very quickly because there's such thin layers. And when it's almost all the way cooked, this is when we're going to fold it twice, making this little pocket of egg at the bottom. This is when we repeat the process for all of our egg to make our final omelet. The big thing is to make sure that you don't overcook the egg and don't use a lot of heat, otherwise it's gonna be burned. We don't want burnt egg.
Now I'm gonna let the residual heat of the pan finish cooking the egg while we work on the next part, which is the carbohydrate, and that is onigiri.
For our carbohydrates, I'm using around 200 grams worth of steamed white rice for our onigiri. I'm also seasoning them with just a bit of plain salt. The reason for this is because I want these to be super easy to make and because I'm also very terrible at wrapping these with seaweed, so please forgive me. Each of these onigiri came out to 100 grams, so that meant I got 2 onigiri for lunch.
Now normally for tamagoyaki, this does need to sit for like an hour, but we need to eat lunch now because it's 12:15 and we still have a lot of food to make and eat.
Since we're not waiting, we're cutting the tamagoyaki into 5 equal portions.
That's technically 3/4 of an egg per slice. Oh no.
I wanted to get this plated up so this way I can enjoy my food more because it'll look so much better.
This is our beautiful lunch, but I'm going to finish it off with some furikake, and in particular, this is ebi, or this is shrimp? Shrimp furikake? Yes, shrimp furikake. Just a little bit right on top of the egg, and then boom, we have lunch. This is so simple to make, and again, you can find these at konbinis in Japan, so I don't think it's that far-fetched that Gojo would have had this walking around Tokyo while he's either training people or fighting curses. So I'm going to dive into the egg. I probably should use chopsticks, but I'm a monster, so cheers. It's perfect. Just a slight sweetness to it, but it needs a little touch of salt. You could also put some soy sauce on here. I'm gonna go with salt instead. Oh, I'm gonna go for another one. That's really good. Now for the onigiri, I'm also gonna take some of this furikake. Yeah, right on top. I love these. I know it's just seasoned rice, but there's something so good about it being so simple. Oh, egg. Here are the macros and the calories for this meal, which means we still have 2 more things to eat, 2 more full meals to make for Gojo. How does he look like a K-pop star while eating all of this food? I'm still kind of full from breakfast. Dinner's gonna be delicious. I really hope I'm even hungry by dinner time. This is how I am with Gojo. How am I gonna do All Might's diet? Okay, lunch is done. We're gonna start getting ready to do our workout, which is gonna be very interesting. But I'm gonna need my second coffee of the day, which is sponsored by today's sponsor, Javi. This is Javi. It's a coffee concentrate that really does come in clutch today because I can't be bothered to make coffee after eating all of this. At 60 cents per portion, it's way cheaper than going and getting cold brew at your local coffee shop for about $4 or $5. In my cup, I have about about 1 cup worth of soy milk, and then I'm going to do 1 tablespoon worth of Javi. You can see, look at how thick and rich that is. Just stir this thing up, and you have essentially an iced coffee with soy milk. Take my 2 giant ice cubes because it's just so extra, and this is ready to go. This took me all of 60 seconds today. Could you imagine Gojo on this stuff? Javi also has 0 sugar, so it has very low impact on your day-to-day life. I could chug this, which I probably shouldn't because all that food is still just right about here. It's ethically sourced, it's delicious, it's dairy-free, it's sugar-free, and it's only about 60 cents per portion. Like, you literally can't go wrong with it. The best part is they're giving you guys 25% off your order by using the link down below and using CHEFPK at checkout. Thank you to Javi's for sponsoring today's video and fueling this workout.
So as we know, Gojo is pretty slender, really in shape, but I don't think he lifts a lot of weight. So we're gonna do a total body workout at body weight. Welcome to the dungeon that is my garage. For this body weight workout, I ended up just doing a bunch of pull-ups, a bunch of push-ups, making sure that I hit every single rep that I go, making sure that you get the leg workout in so you don't look like SpongeBob. Nobody really wants that. Any good martial artist will absolutely hit their core just like Gojo would, and finish it up with another round of pull-ups. Like 4 more rounds of that. Just finished that workout for Gojo. It was kind of ridiculous and I'm exhausted, but we need to work on our hand-eye coordination. If I pretend really hard, it's like I'm going right now. This ended up being a 35-minute Beat Saber workout that absolutely gassed me by the end of it. That was more than enough hand-eye coordination. I think we're gonna vomit. We'll sit here for a minute and then go start prepping dinner because we still have to have that.
So we're back in the kitchen and I am still a little full, but I want to start dinner now because it's pretty close to dinner time and this is going to take me just about an hour to put together. This is why living in a place like Tokyo is hyper convenient. You can get good food anywhere. I live in a farm town. Very sad. But that's why I can make everything. And for dinner, we're having sushi. Well, I guess we're having nigiri. I get 330 grams worth of white rice. There's a big reason why I decided to go with sushi for this. In one of the episodes, Yuji and Nobara were complaining about where to go get food, and they wanted to go get sushi. Now, Nobara wanted to go get really fancy sushi in Ginza, but Yuji just wanted the sushi on the train platter thing, which is fine, you know, but it's not very great. Eventually, Gojo decided to go get fancy sushi in Ginza, so we are making sushi.
Now this rice is also the rice I used earlier for lunch. All I'm really doing is taking all of my rice that I had measured out and adding in my sushi stock. This is some stock that I had made, but you can also purchase sushi stock. What I like to do is make sure that I put it on as evenly as possible while constantly mixing the rice. Once I'm happy with how the rice looks and it's at a nice room temperature, your rice should no longer really be hot at this point, and then pile it up to one side.
I just have a piece of wet paper towel. I'm gonna throw this right on top of the rice. It's just gonna help prevent it from drying out while we get everything else ready. And for tonight's dinner, I have some really nice ahi and some really nice salmon. There's a big reason why I'm doing both. Now, salmon has quite a bit of fat in the fish. So if I were just doing one or the other, because I still need to get a good amount of protein with my fats, I probably would run into the issue of having too much fat or too little fat. I'm still feeling lunch, like quite literally.
And even as full as I am, I still have to eat 6 ounces worth of this salmon and 6 ounces worth of this tuna. That comes out to 12 ounces worth of fish, plus all of the rice we have to eat.
I'm probably not gonna have enough rice in this portion, to be honest.
Now I'm really out of practice in making nigiri, but I'm gonna give it my best shot. You wanna ball up just a small amount of rice, making sure you don't crush the rice just like you would with onigiri. Place that right on top of your fish, gently press it down to make sure it's formed really well, and there you go. There's your first piece.
It's not bad for not having done this in I don't know how long now. That's a nice little piece of sushi. We're just gonna place this on the cutting board and we are going to blitz through this. Let's go.
I finished up by making each and every piece of nigiri that I could, and I still had a little bit of fish left over that we're going to be using as some sashimi.
I was able to get about 10 pieces of each, the ahi and the salmon, with a little bit of fish left over because I ran out of rice because we ate most of our carbs today. But we have to save carbs for dessert. Now let's get this really nice amount of sushi on some kind of a plate. Should we do 20 pieces on this? This feels like it's gonna be a lot. Oh, I can get 8. You need some room in between each one, Paul. We're actually gonna put the rest of this onto here as well. Kind of, I guess, almost like sashimi. I kind of mangled some of it. We'll do fresh ginger on this side. This is all of my freaking dinner right now. This is so much fish. This is a lot. It's about what I would order at a I'm sitting down for this one. I feel like I've worked out 3 times today to try to keep up with Gojo, so I'm just gonna take the liberty of sitting down so I can enjoy this sushi. I've been looking forward to this all day, so let's grub. And we still have one more meal left. I don't know how he does this. I'm gonna go with the salmon first, try to get a little dip in the soy. Talk to the fish. Ah. See, I'm not the best sushi maker. 100% admit that, but I can still eat it. I'm just like power through this a little bit, so it's still kind of full. My hunger is actually coming back. which I didn't think it would at this point. You know, if I lived in Tokyo, I'd probably get sushi every day. Or at the very least, I'd get onigiri at the konbini every day. I'm gonna move the rest of this onto this plate. Okay, one plate down. I am slowing down a little bit though. 4 more pieces. That actually was a lot. A lot of rice, a lot of protein, which is really satiating. And since it's nigiri, you don't have too many like contrasting flavors like you would with a roll. So you do get some flavor fatigue. You do really get some flavor fatigue. Cheers.
No.
Now we have to make dessert.
Oh god, this is gonna look crazy.
After a day like today or fighting curses, sometimes you just want the easy stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. I still don't really feel like Gojo, so it must be the hair. Whose diet am I going to do next?
That's interesting. Looks like you did survive. Shit. Yeah, I can't cook for jack shit, to be honest. I only know make 2 things, grilled cheese sandwiches and fucking scrambled eggs. That's all I can make. I don't want to go near the fucking kitchen because I just used the old one, we got a new one recently, so that's actually pretty old right now. Yeah, that's gonna be it for today. That's all the reaction I want to do. So yeah, that's it for today's reactions.